Okay, so what if we've been thinking about programming all wrong? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful argument that recasts the programmer not as some kind of technician, but as an artist. And we'll see why this shift in thinking isn't just a nice idea, but maybe, just maybe, a crucial survival tool in a world that always seems to demand the impossible. This question, it really gets to the heart of so much frustration in our field, doesn't it? I mean, as software gets into every little corner of our lives, there's this unspoken expectation that programmers are supposed to be experts in, well, everything, and that they can translate any random idea into flawless code, probably on the first try. It's just an impossible standard to meet.
So this pressure, this impossible expectation, it leads right into what our source material calls the programmer's dilemma. And this is the core conflict, right? The clash between the messy, human world of ideas and the rigid, logical world of code.
And this, right here, nails the paradox perfectly. You have a client or a manager with an idea. It's this vague, half-formed, sometimes contradictory cloud of thoughts. And yet the programmer is the one tasked with taking all that ambiguity and somehow forging it into a precise, logical, and perfectly functioning system.
This visualization is just spot on. On one side, you've got the expectation, this clean world of perfect targets and flawless execution. And on the other side, well, that's the reality we all actually live in. Requirements that shift like sand, vague definitions, and stakeholders who often have no idea what the consequences of their own decisions are going to be.
The source really doesn't pull any punches here. The argument is that this whole dilemma has pretty much turned the programmer into the modern-day factory worker, expected to just churn out code to meet crazy deadlines, often without getting to share in the massive value their work creates. It's a powerful statement, and for a lot of people, a very real one.
So, what's the solution? How do we fix this? Well, it begins with a fundamental shift in perspective. We need to start seeing programming as an art, not just some technical craft. Let's dig into what that actually means.
And you know, this isn't some brand new, radical idea. The absolute legend, Donald Knuth, was arguing this way back in the 60s. The problem is, over the years, the industry has pushed to treat programming like a pure science, like a factory assembly line for code. And in doing that, it's kind of lost sight of its creative soul.
Here's where it really clicks. A craft is about repetition, right? Following a set of instructions over and over. But art is about creation. It's about deep, genuine understanding, and it's about generating something totally new out of a complex set of rules and constraints. Now, which one of those sounds more like your daily job?
Think about a movie for a second. It's this massive, collaborative, creative project. And when the film is over, what do you see? You see credits. A long, long list acknowledging everyone who contributed, from the director all the way down to the person who provided the food, because every single one of their creative inputs was valued.
Which brings us to this huge, glaring omission in our own industry. I mean, think about the apps on your phone. With very few exceptions, the names of the people who actually wrote the code, the artists who built the thing from the ground up, they're completely invisible. Their contribution is just anonymous. So, the first step has to be an internal one. It's about us, as programmers, reclaiming this identity. We have to see ourselves as more than just technicians who implement a spec sheet. We're creative authors, and we should be part of the process from the very beginning.
Okay, changing a mindset is one thing, but how do you actually put that into practice? Well, the source offers a beautifully simple but incredibly powerful technique to do just that. It's called the cerebral graph.
So what is it? Put simply, it's a hand-drawn map of the problem you're trying to solve. By getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, connecting all the ideas and definitions flying around, you're not just taking notes. You're actually validating your own understanding and, more importantly, spotting the logical gaps before they become expensive bugs in the code.
And the whole process is intentionally low-tech. First, use paper and pencil, not a computer. This gets you thinking freely. Second, just draw and write whatever comes to mind, naming every single concept with the project's own vocabulary. Third, and this is absolutely crucial, you have to focus only on the definitions, not the implementation. Don't think about code. And finally, you ask yourself, does this map feel complete and correct to me?
Now, this is where the technique goes from being a personal tool to a professional weapon. The graph isn't just for you. It's how you can actively confront and clarify the definitions that other people are giving you. This is so important. Your graph becomes physical proof of your understanding or your confusion.
You can literally take this drawing to an analyst or a client and say, look, this is what I understood, but this part here is fuzzy. This connection doesn't make sense. We need to define this better. It forces a conversation. It forces clarity.
And you are absolutely going to face this, a wall of jargon. You know, analysts with their complex modeling tools throwing a dozen different methodologies at you. It's not just confusing. Sometimes it feels like a way to shut down questions and just push through a definition that isn't really complete.
But don't be intimidated. Your cerebral graph is your shield. It's a powerful reminder that you have a fundamental right to a definition that is clear and complete to you, not just one that looks good in some fancy high-level modeling tool. Your understanding is what matters.
All of this leads to the final and most crucial takeaway. The most powerful instrument in all of programming isn't on your desk. It's between your ears. It is your mind, and that is your primary tool.
So, what is the single most important tool in our entire toolkit? It's not a framework, it's not a language, it's not an IDE. It is something way more fundamental.
It is an agile, prepared, and critical mind. A mind that's been trained to demand clarity, to map out complexity, and to value its own understanding above everything else, before a single line of code is written. That is the true foundation of all great software.
So let's end on this powerful idea. The real work, the deep creative work, that's programming with a capital P. It is an art, and every artist deserves to fully understand their canvas before they even begin to paint.
Thanks for joining us.